There are moments in life when the world feels overwhelming, when your heart questions its own strength, and when doubt whispers louder than hope. In those moments, believing in yourself can feel impossible. But the truth is this: you were created with a purpose, crafted with intention, and placed in this life with abilities that are not accidents. Your worth does not come from what people think of you, nor from how many times you've fallen. Your worth comes from the light within you, the resilience placed in your soul, and the one who never leaves you unprotected. Believing in yourself is not about perfection. It is about trusting that you are guided, that you are capable, and that even your struggles are shaping you into who you are meant to become. When you learn to see yourself through the lens of compassion, strength begins to grow. And from that strength, everything changes. Believing in yourself is not a simple act. It is not a switch you turn on in a moment of inspiration, nor is it a skill you master through perfect days and smooth paths. It is something far deeper, something that grows slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, like a seed planted beneath the soil, hidden from the world, nourished by moments no one else sees. It begins with an inner whisper, a subtle reminder that you were created with intention, that the spark inside you was placed there for a reason. But life, with all its storms and uncertainties, often makes you forget that this spark even exists. You start doubting your abilities, questioning your worth, and believing that your failures define you more than your potential ever could. There will be days when your heart feels heavy with disappointment, when the weight of your past mistakes convinces you that you are unworthy of growth. There will be moments when the world around you seems to diminish your value, when people's expectations overshadow your own voice, and when comparison steals whatever confidence you have left. Yet even in these moments, a deeper truth exists. You are more capable than the limits you place on yourself. You are more resilient than the struggles you've endured. Inside you lives a strength that awakens each time you choose hope over despair, even in the smallest ways. Believing in yourself does not require that you always feel confident. It does not demand perfection, certainty, or a life free of fear. It only asks that you try to see yourself with kindness. Try to forgive the parts of you that are still learning. Try to trust that you have been given exactly what you need to move forward, even if those gifts look small or incomplete. Sometimes the belief you need is not loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is as gentle as taking one more step after a day that tried to break you, as quiet as choosing not to give up when it would be easier to walk away from your dreams, or as humble as acknowledging that you are a work in progress and that this too is beautiful. When you begin to believe in yourself, the world does not instantly transform. The challenges do not disappear. The doubts do not evaporate, and the path does not suddenly become smooth. But something within you shifts. You start to understand that your struggles do not diminish your worth. Rather, they reveal your strength. You learn that even broken moments carry wisdom, and even painful chapters shape the person you are becoming. Every wound that once made you feel weak becomes a doorway to a deeper resilience. Every setback becomes a teacher. Every disappointment a redirection. Every closed door a protection you may not yet understand. The journey of self-belief requires patience. It asks you to listen to the quiet truths inside your soul instead of the loud fears inside your mind. It invites you to embrace vulnerability, not as a sign of weakness, but as a sign of courage. It reminds you that growth requires discomfort, that transformation comes from being stretched, and that you are never truly alone in your struggles. Every time you face something you think you cannot handle, you discover that you are stronger than you imagined. Every time you rise after falling, you prove to your own heart that it is capable of healing, rebuilding, and continuing despite everything. There will be moments in this journey when you feel lost. Moments when you look at your reflection and wonder who you've become or where the old version of you went. There will be times when your dreams feel too far away and your progress feels too slow. But believing in yourself means trusting that even when you cannot see the full picture, you are moving in the direction you were meant to go. It means understanding that growth is not measured by speed, but by sincerity. It means accepting that your timeline does not need to match anyone else's, because your path is uniquely your own. You must learn to speak to yourself with tenderness. Too often, we become our own harshest critics. We replay our mistakes until they drown out our achievements. We hold on to guilt longer than we hold on to gratitude. We magnify our flaws while minimizing our strengths. But self-belief grows in an environment of compassion, not criticism. When you choose to treat your heart with gentleness, it begins to open. When you choose forgiveness, shame begins to dissolve. When you choose understanding, the walls around your confidence begin to fall. And slowly, you begin to see that you are worthy of love, worthy of growth, and worthy of becoming the person you dream to be. Life will test your belief in yourself in ways you cannot predict. There will be battles that leave you questioning everything. There will be losses that shake your foundation. There will be disappointments that make you want to retreat into yourself. But these moments do not exist to break you. They exist to reveal parts of your strength that would have otherwise remained hidden. They remind you that your heart can bend without breaking, that your spirit can endure more than you imagined, and that every hardship carries a lesson meant only for you. Through these experiences, you learn to trust your resilience, to rely on your inner courage, and to recognize that you are capable of surviving what once seemed impossible. Believing in yourself also means letting go of the need for approval, the fear of judgment, and the heavy burden of perfection. It means releasing the idea that you must always be strong or always have the answers. You learn that vulnerability is not a flaw but a doorway to authenticity. You learn that the people who truly value you will embrace your imperfections, not just your strengths. You learn that your worth does not depend on external validation, but on the quiet, steady truth that you are enough as you are and still capable of becoming more. As you continue this journey, you begin to notice something profound. The more you believe in yourself, the more your life begins to align with your deepest values. You start making choices that honor your heart, setting boundaries that protect your peace, and pursuing dreams that once felt out of reach. You begin to surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, and you gently distance yourself from those who diminish your spark. You begin to trust your intuition, listen to your inner voice, and step into the fullness of your purpose. Your life becomes a reflection of the courage you nurtured inside yourself. Believing in yourself does not mean you will never face fear again. Fear is a part of being human. But when you believe in yourself, fear becomes a companion you can walk with, not an enemy that paralyzes you. Doubt becomes a reminder to seek clarity, not a barrier that stops you. Failure becomes a teacher, not a final verdict. And uncertainty becomes a space for growth, not a reason to give up. You learn to navigate life with a heart that is both soft and strong, a heart that knows when to surrender and when to persist, when to rest and when to rise again. The beauty of this journey is that every person walks it differently. Some find self-belief through solitude, some through love, some through loss, and some through moments of clarity that arrive unexpectedly. But no matter how your journey unfolds, remember this: you were created with a strength that cannot be erased by failure, a purpose that cannot be lost through mistakes, and a light that cannot be dimmed by the darkness around you. Your story is still unfolding, your potential still expanding, your soul still growing. Every day is another chance to choose belief over doubt, courage over fear, and growth over stagnation. And so the journey continues, quietly, gently, steadily, as you learn to trust yourself more deeply with every step you take, as you return to the truth that your heart has always known, as you uncover the strength within you that has been waiting to be seen. Believing in yourself grows in the quiet spaces of your life, in the moments when you choose compassion instead of criticism toward your own heart. It is not something you force, it is something you nurture. And nurturing requires softness, patience, and a willingness to honor the parts of you that are still learning how to stand. Too often, we think strength comes from pushing ourselves harshly, from demanding perfection, from silencing our fears and pretending we are unbreakable. But real strength does not grow in places where harshness is the language and pressure is the atmosphere. Real strength grows where kindness is present, where the heart feels safe enough to rise after it falls, where mistakes are allowed to become lessons rather than wounds that never heal. When you choose compassion toward yourself, you give your heart a place to breathe. You give it permission to feel what it feels without being punished for being human. You begin to understand that your imperfections are not failures, but pathways leading you toward growth, humility, and wisdom. Compassion allows you to see that every moment you struggled was a moment you were trying. And trying is always a form of courage. The world may not celebrate your small efforts, but your soul recognizes them. Every time you choose to keep going, even with trembling hands and a tired spirit, you are showing yourself a profound kind of belief, one that comes not from achievement, but from gentle persistence. So many people speak to themselves with harshness they would never use on someone they love. They replay their mistakes with a sharpness that cuts deeper every time. They call themselves names they would never say to a child. They punish themselves for emotions that are natural, for fears that are understandable, for insecurities that come from being alive in an unpredictable world. But self-belief cannot grow in an environment of self-abandonment. It needs gentleness. It needs understanding. It needs a voice inside you that says, you are trying, you are learning, you are worthy despite the ways you fall short. You are not meant to be perfect. You are meant to be open to growth, open to healing, open to transformation. Compassion is what creates that openness. It softens your rigid expectations and allows you to meet yourself where you are, not where you think you should be. When you show yourself kindness after a mistake, you teach your heart that it is still deserving of love. When you allow yourself rest, instead of forcing yourself to push beyond exhaustion, you remind your soul that it is valuable even in stillness. When you forgive yourself for moments of weakness, you make space for strength to return. Self-belief grows in the soil of this kind of compassion. It grows when you stop treating yourself as an enemy and begin treating yourself as someone worthy of care. It grows when you recognize that your inner world needs nourishing just as much as your outer life. It grows every time you speak to yourself gently, every time you acknowledge your effort, every time you allow yourself to be human. There will be moments when compassion feels difficult, especially when you are disappointed in yourself. There will be times when your heart is heavy with regret, when you wish you had done things differently, when you feel like every step you take is the wrong one. But these are the exact moments when compassion is most needed, not to excuse your actions, but to guide your healing. Compassion does not remove responsibility, it removes shame. It opens your heart so that growth can happen from a place of clarity rather than fear. It shows you that you can learn without hating yourself, that you can rise without crushing your own spirit. When you extend compassion to yourself, you begin to understand that your worth is not fragile. It does not vanish when you fail. It does not depend on constant success. It lives deeper than your achievements and survives longer than your mistakes. Your worth is woven into your existence. It is something unshaken, something that breathes beneath all the layers of who you are. And when you truly understand this, self-belief becomes natural. You begin to trust yourself not because you are flawless, but because you know that you can always return to softness, always return to growth, always return to the deeper truth that you are allowed to be in progress. Compassion also teaches you how to navigate your emotions in a more loving way. Instead of suppressing them or judging them, you learn to sit with them, to listen to what they are trying to tell you. Your sadness is not your enemy. Your fear is not your weakness. Your uncertainty is not your flaw. They are all signals, guiding you toward understanding, reminding you that there is still healing to be done. When you approach these emotions with compassion, you transform them. Sadness becomes a reminder of your capacity for tenderness. Fear becomes a reminder of your longing for safety and meaning. Uncertainty becomes a doorway to discovery. And in all of this, self-belief grows because you are no longer fighting parts of yourself, you are understanding them. Many people believe that being hard on themselves will make them stronger. They think that punishing their flaws will make them better. But harshness does not create greatness. It creates fear. It creates avoidance. It creates a fragile kind of confidence that depends on constant achievement and collapses the moment you fall. Compassion, on the other hand, creates resilience. It allows you to rise again because you are not carrying the weight of self-hatred. It allows you to keep trying because you are not terrified of your own imperfections. It allows you to believe in your ability to grow, even when growth takes time. Imagine a little child learning how to walk. They fall countless times. No one expects them to walk perfectly on the first try. No one scolds them for stumbling. Instead, they are encouraged, supported, and celebrated for every attempt. Why is it that when we grow older, we forget that we are still learning, still stumbling, still becoming? Why do we deny ourselves the compassion we would easily offer to a child? The truth is, you are still that child in many ways. You are still learning how to navigate a world that is complex and unpredictable. You are still figuring out how to carry your emotions, how to heal from your past, how to step into your future. And just like that child, you deserve patience. You deserve encouragement. You deserve kindness. When you start treating yourself this way, something incredible happens. You feel safer within your own soul. Your mind becomes a place of refuge instead of torment. Your heart becomes a place of healing instead of criticism. And from this safety, your confidence begins to rise. You begin to trust your voice. You begin to embrace your unique path. You begin to walk with a quiet steadiness, knowing that even if you fall, you will not abandon yourself. Compassion also helps you let go of the unrealistic expectations you place on yourself. Sometimes you expect yourself to carry burdens too heavy, to heal too quickly, to understand too much too soon. You push yourself with the weight of should. I should be stronger. I should be further. I should be better by now. But these expectations are heavy. They suffocate growth. Compassion lifts this weight by reminding you that your journey is not a race, that healing is not linear, that progress is still progress even when it is slow, and that you are allowed to be where you are without apology. Self-belief does not come from achieving everything perfectly. It comes from trusting that you can handle whatever comes even when things go wrong. It comes from knowing that your mistakes do not make you unworthy. It comes from understanding that you can fall and rise again without losing the essence of who you are. Compassion is what teaches you this. It reminds you that your spirit is resilient, that your heart can break and still beat, that your soul can bend and still remain whole. When you choose compassion consistently, you begin to notice how your inner voice changes. It becomes softer, calmer, more supportive. Instead of saying you failed, it says you learned. Instead of saying you're not enough, it says you're growing. Instead of saying give up, it says try again tomorrow. And with this new voice, confidence slowly begins to bloom. Not loudly, not suddenly, but gently like dawn rising after a long night. You start to trust your intuition more. You start to follow your heart instead of your fears. You start to take steps that once felt impossible because compassion has created safety, and in safety, courage grows. You begin to believe that you deserve good things, that you are capable of achieving what you dream of, that you have something meaningful inside you that the world needs. This belief is not arrogance, it is recognition of the truth that has always lived inside you but was buried beneath years of self-doubt. Your journey will still include moments of struggle. Compassion does not erase challenges, but it changes how you walk through them. Instead of falling apart when things get difficult, you hold yourself with tenderness. Instead of giving up when you feel overwhelmed, you remind yourself that it is okay to rest. Instead of drowning in guilt when you make mistakes, you guide yourself back to growth with gentleness. This is how self-belief becomes unshakable. Not because life becomes easy, but because you learn how to hold yourself through all of it. Compassion also opens your heart to love. love for yourself, love for others, love for the journey you are on. When you stop criticizing yourself so harshly, you naturally stop judging others so harshly. Your relationships deepen, your empathy grows, your presence becomes softer, and in this softness, you learn that believing in yourself is not just about succeeding. It is about becoming someone who reflects love, someone who carries light, someone who moves through the world with sincerity and peace. You begin to realize that self-belief is not an isolated feeling. It is a harmony between your mind, heart, and soul. It is the balance between your ambitions and your humanity. It is the understanding that you can strive to become better while still appreciating who you are right now. Compassion is the thread that weaves these truths together. It keeps you grounded while you reach higher. It keeps you humble while you grow stronger. It keeps you soft while life demands resilience. And as this compassion deepens, so does your belief in the person you are becoming. You no longer judge yourself by the opinions of others because you have learned to honor your own voice. You no longer cling to perfection because you understand the beauty of being real. You no longer fear falling because you trust your ability to rise. This is the foundation of true self-belief, a foundation built not on pride but on grace, not on pressure but on acceptance, not on force but on love. And so you continue forward, learning every day to meet yourself with more kindness, learning to embrace the parts of you that once scared you, learning to walk gently with your own soul, learning to trust that you are becoming exactly who you were meant to be, learning to grow in the softness that makes your strength even more profound.